All right, listening up, please. Okay, if we are looking for the integers that multiply to give 6, we are looking at our times tables and we could think 1 times 6. 1 times 6 makes 6. But we are doing positive and negative integers here. It could also have been -1 and -6 because the two minuses would make a plus when you times them. There could also be some other numbers. What about 2 and 3? 2 times 3 makes 6. But then I can also have the negative ones again. So it could be -2 with -3 to make a +6. So it's actually 4 different sets that you could have there that all multiply to give 6. Same idea, what about 16? We could have 1 and 16, which means we could have -1 and -16. Okay, what about 2? Yes, we could do 2 times 8 to make 16, which means -2 and -8. And then there's still 4, isn't there? Could be 4 times 4 or -4 times -4. Lots of different things could happen when you have negative signs that can also be used. Luke, can you please stop talking or you'll be forced to move away from there? You want to sit with your friends, means you need to sit there quietly. -24. 1 times 24 makes 24, but in order for it to be negative here, one of the numbers needs to be negative. The trouble is, it could be either of them. It could be a -1 and a 24, or it could be a +1 and a -24. So I got 2 just like that. What about 2 and 12? It could be a +2 and a -12, or a -2 and a +12. Then I could also do 3 and 8, and then 4 and 6, positive and negative. I think we'll just go etc. after that because there's like at least 4 more that we can do there. Okay, but the positive and negative version of each one of those. Okay, down here to this next one, calculating -2 to the power of 3. When you have that little power of 3, it means that you are multiplying the -2 by itself 3 times. So it's -2 times -2 times -2. Okay, 3 here means 3 of them multiplied together. Now, we're not really used to doing 3 of them, so let's start with 2. -2 times -2, the two negatives will make a positive. And it would be a +4. So I could write that down as, I could write that down as 4 times by that last -2 that I've been ignoring. Then a positive times a negative will make a negative. 4 times 2 is 8. So it is -8 would be the answer that you should get. Okay. Now that's a little bit of an intro because sometimes in order of operations you can have powers. We're not going to have very many of them showing up though, so that's some good news. But let's start our order of operations. This dot point here. Don't yell out, please. Be quiet. Order of operation rules apply when operating with positive and negative integers. They are the exact same as the normal ones, which means that first of all, you should deal with the brackets. So always deal with brackets first. Then you will do multiplication and division working from left to right. So it does not mean that you will always do the multiplication and then the division. If you have a division sign first, you're going to do the division before the multiplication. It's whichever one happens from the left side of your equation as you go across towards the right. And it's the same with the third step, doing addition and subtraction from left to right, whichever one happens first from left to right. Now, some of you have already said that there is a little saying that can help you remember that. And I don't mind if you use BIDMAS or BODMAS. They mean the same thing. I stands for indices. If you're using BODMAS, it stands for of, which means powers of. Okay, so they do mean the same thing. So this is always do brackets first. Indices or powers, if there are any, there's not going to be very any of those showing up. Here's your multiplication and division. These happen at the same time from left to right. Okay, it's not division first, it's not multiplication first. Whichever one happens first, left to right. And the same with addition and subtraction. Whichever one happens first from left to right. So, when we do these questions, we are very fussy about how you set out your answers. I do not want to see people writing things all over the place, whatever it is, putting numbers all over the question. No, we do not do that. To set these out properly, we have a series of equal signs where we calculate one step at a time the correct order of what we need to do. And we don't have magically things disappearing and then reappearing as we've just left something out and then decided to include it back in again. Everything needs to stay there the whole way through until it has been used. So let me show you, and all of you will set it out this way, or I will be asking you to start again. Okay? So here, question number 1. If you look at your BIDMAS, you know that you always need to start with the brackets. So for those of you who have a highlighter, this can be beneficial, that you highlight the part that you are going to work out first. And I'm going to work out that bracket, so I've highlighted what's inside it. Okay? Now when I do my equal sign, I am only going to calculate this part that I have highlighted. -2 minus 1 is -3. So we put -3 here. The highlighted part is all that I am calculating, but I still need to write down the other stuff that I haven't used. So I'm going to put my times by 8 next to it. Okay, I calculated this, but I still need to include my 8 sitting on the side. Then my brackets are gone, so now I'm looking at division and multiplication, and there is a multiplication sign in here. So now I am going to multiply those two numbers together. A positive times a negative means a negative. 3 times 8 is 24. That's a relatively short question because I was able to do it in 2 steps. You will see some down here that have many more equal signs to them. So let's do some more. Question 2, evaluate using order of operation rules. So normally we are looking for brackets first, and yes, there are brackets here, but those brackets are just to emphasize the minus sign. There is nothing inside that I can calculate. Okay, so I don't need to do anything with those brackets. Next, I'm looking for division and multiplication, starting from the left. Here is my first multiplication sign. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to multiply those numbers first. Everything else is going to stay the same. Calculating these, minus times a plus will make a negative. 6 times 2 is 12. So I've just calculated the highlighted part. The rest of it, copy it down. Minus 10 divide by negative 5. You can have the brackets or not have the brackets, it doesn't matter. Lulu. Well, I was explaining that there's nothing in those brackets to calculate, otherwise I would have. But those brackets, there's nothing inside for me to calculate. Okay. No, so that's what I was saying. These two happen at the same time, depending on which, so division and multiplication, it happens, whichever one is on the left happens first. And same with addition and subtraction, which is why I did that as well. So it's addition and subtraction, whichever one on the left happens first. It's not division before multiplication, it's not addition before subtraction. always. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So we're at this point. We did a multiplication, but we're still in this multiplication division because there's another division sign over here. So I want to highlight the division sign with the numbers that are on either side of it. So I'm highlighting the minus 10 and the minus 5. The 12, the minus 12, it's staying out of it. So let's just write it down, minus 12. And I'm going to calculate this part that I've highlighted. A minus divided by a minus is going to make what? Positive. A positive. So I need a plus sign here. A 10 divided by a 5 makes a 2. Yeah. You could, okay, the other option is I could do, Seb, don't yell out please. I could do the minus from the 10, and then I have a positive and a negative, which makes a negative 2, but the two negatives will make a positive anyway. So whether you include the minus straight away, it makes it easier for you if you do, because either way it will end up a plus. Okay, so plus sign in between. All right, division and multiplication are done. Now we are on to addition and subtraction, and this is an addition sign. So we are doing minus 12 plus 2. So this is number line stuff. Minus 12 coming up to makes negative 10. All right, let's try another one. And it's the setting out that I really want you guys to practice here, because once you master that, this gets a lot easier. Part B. BODMAS starts with brackets, and this time there is some stuff in the brackets here that I can work out first, so I highlight it. Everything else I leave out, so it's going to be a 5. Then it's going to be a divide. And I calculate the part in the bracket. Minus 10 plus 5. This is our integers. What is minus 10 plus 5? Yes? Negative 5. Good. Then I also have the plus 5 that was minding its own business sitting on the end. Okay, brackets are done. Next, I'm looking for multiplications and divisions, and I have one. Here's a divide sign. So let's highlight the divide with the numbers on either side of it. I have a positive number and a negative number, which means my answer will be negative. 5 divided by 5 is 1. The plus 5 is minding its own business sitting on the end. Division and multiplication, there's no more of those left. So now I'm on to addition and subtraction, and I have this addition here. Minus 1 plus 5 is 4. That's a number line. You start at minus 1 and you jump 5 to the right. Okay, still some more on the next page, another one over here. Okay, C. BODMAS or BIDMAS. A fraction acts like brackets. If you have got a sum or something on the top of the fraction, can we have attention up here, please? This fraction line is grouping that numerator together, which means, like I said, this is like it's in brackets, and I have to do that numerator. Okay, so highlighting the numerator, doing that first. I'm leaving the minus 6. I'm even going to leave the minus at the front of the fraction, and I'm leaving the 3 on the bottom. All I'm calculating is this part. 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, brackets or my numerator is done. Now I'm looking for multiplication and division. And a fraction line means division. So I need to do this fraction next. So I'm going to highlight it. Doing the fraction. I'm leaving the minus 6 and the minus sign at the front. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Multiplication, division is done. Now addition and subtraction. Subtraction in here. Minus 6 minus 4 more is negative 10. Negative 10. Okay, that is the examples done. And you are going to be doing, it says 25 to 27, but I also want you to do 24 in here, which was some more adding and subtracting.